Yes.
We're going live.
Yes.
Yes. So, Amit sir, are we live?
It says live, so
Yes. Amit sir, checking with you. Can you give a green flag?
No, I'm just changing from the backend.
Yes.
Just 1 second. It's already live. Just hold on.
Yeah, I can see. The audience is there. They've already started to text on the live chat.
Yeah. Even I'm getting the messages from people.
Yes. Amit sir, why there is a delay?
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
Okay, are we live? Please check on the application before I begin.
It's been visible on app also.
Yes.
And web too.
Yeah. So we are live now. Good evening to one and all present here. I, Diksha Gambhir from Medisage E-Learning Private Limited, a platform for medical professionals to converge, enhance knowledge, exchange wisdom, and embrace digital solutions for advancing global patient care, welcomes you to our MedEd Marvels PG e-learning revolution on the topic AI-driven transformation in healthcare and the shifting career horizon, addressing the entire PG community. So it gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Aditya along with his eminent panel. So now I would like Dr. Aditya to take it forward from here and set the context for discussion. Doctor, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the introduction. I'm Dr. Aditya Reddy. I'm currently doing my MD in pharmacology at JIPMER, Puducherry. And it's a pleasure to be part of this panel with our esteemed guests, Dr. Anand Patil and Dr. Amol Rajbani. So we'll just do a quick introduction of our panelists today. I'll just share my screen. Yeah. So we have Dr. Anand Patil here. To start with this whole forum, we all getting together is because of Dr. Anand Patil and his passion for delivering his key insights through the career which he has had till now. He has authored more than 140 articles, 75 PubMed index journals. He has been an associate editor of 5 books, editorial board members of 6 journals. He's got the Best Teacher Award by Dr. D.Y. Patil School of Medicine in 2022. He also received the prestigious Sherlock Holmes Award by the Student Council in 2023, award for maximum number of publications as a senior faculty category at NAPTICON 2023. He was an invited speaker, resource faculty for several conferences and workshops. He was also an invited peer reviewer for more than 10 journals. He's also a Mayo Clinic certified stimulation instructor. And thank you, sir. Thank you for getting us all together, getting all the connections together and giving us this great chance to interact with all these industry experts. Thanks.
So thank you,
And
Aditya,
now,
thank you, Aditya. Before you introduce Amol, maybe I'll speak for 2 minutes. Just let
thank you,
Amol
sir.
know. Yes, so just Amol know this about platform. So Dr. Amol, this platform is called as the PG Pharmacology Forum, and PG Pharmacology Forum is started almost a year back. So we started on WhatsApp, and today we have a community of more than 1,500 participants across India. So recently we have started connecting the PG students of pharmacology with the industry experts, and today is the third episode of this. So without wasting much time, because we are more eager to listen, the students are more eager to listen to you than me. So I would request Aditya to introduce Amol, and then we can start immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And now talking about our chief panelist, Dr. Amol Rajbani. Dr. Amol completed his MBBS at MJ Medical College and Research Center, Shambhajinagar, Maharashtra, India. After which, from 2003 to 2005, Sir had a stint at Pfizer as the Clinical Research Operations Lead. This was followed by an sorry, yeah, are we back? This was followed by an MS in Clinical Research Management at UNT Health Science Center, Texas. Following this, Dr. Amol headed the Cardiovascular Clinical Trial Program at the University of Texas Health Sciences 2000. This was from 2008 to 2012. He then went back to business school to pursue his MBA from Rice University, Houston, Texas. This was followed by a fellowship in medical devices and life sciences from HAN, Texas. Following which, Sir served as the associate director at the prestigious Stanford Center for Clinical Research from 2014 to 2019. Dr. Amol then joined IBM as a senior program lead at Center for AI Research and Evaluation within IBM Watson Health, team based at the San Francisco Bay Area, where he led IBM Watson Oncology, IBM RWD, and Predictive Analytics product portfolios and managed strategic customer research partnerships across countries in North America and APAC. He led planning and execution of IBM WH's multi-year strategic collaborative initiatives with Harvard Medical School, Brigham and Women's Hospital BWH and Vanderbilt University Medical Center, focusing on new AI-based healthcare product developments and evaluation. Currently, since August 2022, Dr. Amol is the Worldwide Healthcare and Life Sciences AI Solutions Lead at HPE. In this role, he supports AI-based solution development for HLS vertical and formulation of GTM strategy of HPE's AI/ML platforms for HLS vertical. So thank you, sir. Thank you for being here, and we all at this platform are very eager to know about your journey, and get key insights from you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So
Perfect.
over to you, Amol. Aditya, you can unshare your screen so that Amol can share it.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yes, sir.
Aditya, for the kind introduction. Let me share my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So thanks again for the opportunity, Anand and the
Yes.
team. So really excited to share my excitement about AI and its application in healthcare with you guys. So just to start, a disclaimer, the views and opinion I will express in this presentation, they are mine. They don't reflect the company I work for or the entities I work or collaborate with.
Dr. Amol, just to interrupt you, can you do a full screen so that we can see your slide in toto?
You are seeing in the presenter?
Yeah, we're not able to see your full screen.
Can you see now?
Yeah,
Sir,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. So the agenda for today is like, I will just introduce what AI is, what was a traditional AI, which used to happen before ChatGPT came on board. And then what is this ChatGPT or generative AI is. Then what are the applications of generative AI in healthcare and life sciences we see today coming on the horizon. And then AI's impact on future of work, how we expect AI impacting work, mainly in the healthcare life sciences domain, and how it will open new career opportunities or maybe bring changes in the existing careers. So that's in a nutshell. So my objective is to provide maybe a more broad-based overview of this field. So I won't dive deeper. So you will see a lot of content from me, but that is by design. So I just want this audience to get familiar with few terms, few developments within the AI domain. So I won't be diving deeper, but if you like to continue the conversation, I am on LinkedIn. I would really like to hear questions from you or any views or disagreements from this audience. So just to introduce about AI, so every one of us started like hearing about AI when ChatGPT came on board. It was not that popular other than few people like me who used to work on AI or few researcher. So it was mainly somewhere around like November last year. They launched ChatGPT and it took over all the world. So from the timeline perspective, the internet came in 1983 and then iPhone came in 2007. So these are like major milestones for technology. But that's not the case. AI has been in existence in almost like 1940s when neural network was coined. And then, so from broader, I think ecosystem scan perspective, AI is a broader term, and then machine learning is a subset of AI. I won't go deeper into that, but I just want this audience to get familiar with these terms. So when you hear machine learning, it's just a subset of artificial intelligence. It works in a certain way. And then there is deep learning, which has more neural layers, so it can perform more rigorous analysis or data analysis tasks. So AI is a bigger term, machine learning a subset of that, and deep learning a subset of AI as well as machine learning. And all the hype around ChatGPT is a part of this Gen AI or generative AI, what we call. And it was in existence in the research lab for last almost like 4 or 5 years. I will share the timeline too. But it mainly came on the world stage since last November 2022. So this is just a timeline about AI. So AI has been in existence even before internet came or even before iPhone was launched. So it's not a new term. It was just not like democratized, because what ChatGPT did is it made it so simple for people like you and me to interact with this tool. So it, in a sense, democratized the whole concept of AI. So what is traditional AI? This was the AI most of us used to work on till last November before ChatGPT was launched. So if you see the conventional workflow is like data is generated, you store the data, you process the data, and then you gain insight. So this was traditional AI was mainly a tool to get insights into specific data. If it is a healthcare patient data, what we used to do is we used to get a model, train it on a specific data, and use it for a specific application, like disease modeling. So what will happen to someone who has been admitted to hospital? Will that person will show up in next 6 months? So this is patient readmission algorithms we used to develop. So they were for a specific task. So this was like how the traditional AI used to look like. The simple example is like what we used to do is if we feed images of dogs to a trained model and tell them like, this is the image of dog, this is not a dog. And if we train the model on that, the model become pretty good and it can discriminate between like a dog image as well as anything else. So this was like how the traditional AI used to look like. So it used to mainly perform task of understanding, classification. If you show them an X-ray, this is emphysema, it is not emphysema. You need to train that model on maybe hundreds or thousands of X-ray images. And the model used to get so good that it used to tell you like yes or no. So this was like more focused approach. So every model used to for a specific purpose. You can't use the same model for telling you something about readmission if you train the model on X-ray images. So it was more focused approach. That was traditional AI. Sorry. Can you see my full screen now? Or no?
No.
No, sir.
It's split. It is split screen.
Yeah. Now it should be right.
Yeah.
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 And
Now
then
we can see full
the
screen.
new AI with ChatGPT popularized, that's a generative AI. And why it's called generative AI is because it can generate novel content. And I will give an example. So it can generate content on text, images, codes, and audio. So the prominent example is ChatGPT or DALI. So what the generative AI did is it took you from the traditional AI to generative AI. So the era of understanding, you get understanding of the data and it gives predictions or classification, to the era of generation. And I think giving a specific example will make more sense. I will share some of that. So what ChatGPT is like the most popular app. If you see like months taken to reach 100 million users, Spotify took almost 11 years. Netflix took almost 10 years, but ChatGPT did that in 2 months. So this was like the power of ChatGPT. Everyone was surprised, and you will soon realize why it has been a craze all over the world. ChatGPT is a chatbot version, and it is powered by, so every AI app is powered by a model. We call it like, for example, you can imagine a Dell laptop. You call it a Dell laptop, but it is powered by Intel processor inside. So ChatGPT is more like a chatbot version, whereas it is actually powered by AI models. So GPT-3, if you are using that, the open source version, or you and me log in, but if you are using the paid version, it uses a different model, the more advanced GPT model. So this has been the journey of GPT models. So they launched GPT-3 through ChatGPT. So that was not their first model. But why it became popular is the ChatGPT app. You guys must have used that. The app is like so easy to use. Anyone, even who doesn't have technical knowledge, can just go there, enter your query, and it gives the output. So in a sense, it democratized. So ChatGPT-3 became more popular, but they had two models even before that, GPT-1 and GPT-2. And these are called GPT because it's like generative pre-trained transformer model. Generative because they create new content, and I will show how. These are pre-trained because they are trained on a huge data set, and they are called transformer because these are like a family of neural network architecture. And it's a company, OpenAI, who created these models. Pretty popular nowadays. So the basic of these models is the data they are trained on. So when you would come to ChatGPT, it was trained on like Camel crawl. It's like, if I were to simplify that, it's internet data for last maybe 7-8 years of internet activity, tons of data, multiple GBs. So these models were trained on internet activity. Web text is the Reddit Q&As. You must have used Reddit app. So there are more conversational Q&A type questions there. So they trained this model on the web text. And then two huge bookstores, the internet bookstores, they trained this model. So, and the Wikipedia too, we see a lot of data on Wikipedia. So this model is trained on this diverse internet-based data set. So they have been updated on knowledge from multiple sources. And it is estimated like it cost them almost like 5 million to train ChatGPT. But now people across the world use it. So it costs them almost like $700,000 per day. So training a model is one task, but they have to keep this model running, and it involves a lot of computer resources. So why it's getting so much traction compared to traditional AI? So people were using on AI, as I showed, for last 60, 70 years. So why ChatGPT or the generative AI is gaining so much traction? Because these are very good models. Their predictive accuracy, I will share a few studies, they're pretty good. They need less stable data. When you come to AI, as I said, like everything comes to data. And for the conventional model, the conventional AI, as I mentioned, we need data labeled. So if you are training a model on X-rays, you have to have X-ray labeled with like every speck about what is normal, what is abnormal. It's a humongous task. You have to spend a lot of time labeling this data, but for the generative AI, you need very less labeled data. And it's very simple and cheap to deploy. You must have seen that ChatGPT, how easy it is. And if you're developing any apps, it's very easy to plug that in. It's multimodal. I will show what is multimodal. You can text, you can upload an image and tell what the image is about, or you can just type and tell it to produce an image. And mostly the interface, it's so easy. It's as good as like you're chatting something on your chat app or in Google. So the impact it does is like it increases the speed to market. So just want to familiarize with few of the tools you can see across generative AI, like this text is ChatGPT or Bard is from Google. For image, you can use OpenAI DALL-E 2 and Midjourney. For code generation, software engineers use that, the Code Whisperer or GitHub. And for data, there are companies like Gretel or DataGen. And I will give specific examples for these. Just to take an example, the ChatGPT one, sorry. So just put if you have not tried that, what we tried is like put a patient description. A patient came with worsening of swelling in the legs. Patient had upper respiratory tract infection. He had blood in the urine. So can you please provide what the patient should have? So we can do that to a limited extent in Google search, but this is more conversational. You feel as if you're talking to a trained medical personnel. And remember, this model, ChatGPT, is not specifically trained for medical. It is like general, right? Some of the books might be from the medical domain, or some data they must have got from internet might be in the medical domain. But it's pretty good if you see the response here. It tells exactly like, and it talks to you the way you see a normal healthcare professional talking to you. So it tells like, okay, if the patient has these symptoms, it might be like the post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. So pretty good. So that's what this is the power of these generative AI tools. These are more conversational, and you can actually continue the dialogue. You can say, no, I don't feel that, but I have this additional report. Can you tell me? Then it will say, okay, so based on this additional, so you can continue that conversation, which you can't do that in Google search. So these are pretty good from that perspective, even they are not trained specifically for medical purposes. So you can imagine, like, if you train the model for medical reasoning, how good those will be. That's why this excitement for this generative AI in healthcare comes from. Another example to use ChatGPT is like just upload your any of these publications and tell them like, hey, can you please summarize this for me? And it's pretty good. I suggest like you try these. It summarizes maybe a 10-page document into maybe half or 1-page document, and it gives a nice summary. In terms of like image generation, I just provided it a prompt like I used DALI 2, and I said like create a picture showing like Indian medical student learning about AI, including Indian flag. So everything comes from the prompt you give. So there are like new jobs you must have heard about prompt engineering, like what you tell these models, how you tell these models will determine the output you get. So when I put this prompt, it gives a nice picture. Not the best one because I tell them to include tech companies in the picture. It didn't do that job, but pretty decent one. And I didn't spend much time, and I'm not expert in prompt engineering. But people have done that job. So I think someone put like, give me a picture of astronaut riding a horse on moon. And this is the picture they got. Pretty impressive, right? Or maybe Elon Musk enjoying an Indian wedding. So you see that when I say multimodal, you are putting a text input and you are getting an image, which was not possible up till now. And you can do the same for, give me an image for X-ray image for human with a pacemaker. It tried its best. It may not be the best one, but this is just the beginning. So you can imagine like what will happen in the future when these models become really better. The other example I gave is like generating the data. So what's happening now is you train these models, you have to get healthcare data access and then train these models. But in the future, what you will do is you will use this model to create medical data. So this is called a synthetic data. So you can see here, Gardner says by 2023, synthetic data use will be overpowering the real data. So you don't need to collect actual patient data. You can go to these models and tell these models like, hey, give me like medical record for maybe 1,000 patients, or give me a genome. They are pretty good in terms of giving you on the genomic data or imaging data. The way they created these images I just showed, they are able to create these medical data. So they are getting more sophisticated, and there are companies which are creating the synthetic data. So it's pretty exciting because if data is the oil for AI, and if you can create data using AI, you can imagine like how good we can make these models. So why all the hype about, I can understand this is exciting technology, but healthcare has never been excited about technology before this, to this extent. So why healthcare is getting excited? And if you see the projections, like generative AI is projected to go fastest in the healthcare domain than any other vertical, take banking or consumer or public sector. They expect healthcare to benefit the most from this with a compound annual growth rate of almost like 85% through 2027. This is huge. Like this is like changing the entire landscape of healthcare. And to understand the challenges we face in healthcare. We have rising cost. There is tons of data coming now. We have genomic tests. We have new tests being added for these diseases on a monthly or annual basis. We have genomic data now. In few days, we will have genomic data as a part of our electronic medical record. We are suffering from staff shortages, burnout. If we see the numbers here, we had almost like 38 of 40% burnout rate in physicians before COVID. Now it has jumped to almost like 62%. So the existing healthcare professional or the workforce is under tremendous work pressure. in spite of spending so much money, the health outcomes are declining. The emerging technologies, we are struggling with how to integrate that. How, if you are using Apple Watch, if your Apple Watch can tell you about abnormal heart rhythm, how to integrate that into your clinical workflows. It should not be just like, hey, my watch shows that. It should be part of your care pattern. You should be able to communicate that to your physician. It should be part of your medical record, as well as focus on population and precision health. We have seen that during COVID, right? On one hand, we're focusing on the global, like what are the numbers from North America or Asia, but at the other hand, we were exploring like what is the impact on the specific genome coming from South Indian population. So the spectrum, if you see, we are worried at the population level or the global population level, but at the same time at the genomic level. So healthcare has to cover the entire spectrum. So huge scope for database decision making in healthcare. And I think the same applies for life sciences. Many of you are pursuing pharmacology and you will be interested to go in the pharma domain. And if you see the pharma field today, there is so much pressure in terms of delay in time to market. Companies are struggling to bring the drug earliest to the market because the patent timeline is ticking. You want to develop these drugs as soon as possible, get them through clinical trial, but there is actual struggle. Most of the companies, they want to have this digital transformation, adoption of technology, a use of real world data. There is a huge talent gap. There are a limited number of these machine learning engineers, data scientists, and every industry is poaching them. And healthcare is having these shortages of these people because they have to compete with other industries. Regulations, if you see FDA and European Medical Agency, they are getting more stringent with each passing year, as well as supply chain disruption. So they want to utilize technology to address these challenges, and they see AI as a panacea for dealing with these challenges. So the outcome we expect using AI in healthcare and life sciences is like improved operational performance. You can have your care pathways on a more robust performance, as well as hyper personalization in terms of engagement with your employees, your hospital employees, your corporate employees, as well as with the patients. You can improve your patient care, you can reduce the cost, you can promote innovation, and you can expand access to care. So AI is considered as like a solution to many of the challenges today's healthcare and life sciences domains are facing. So there are skeptics within us, and there is a skeptic within every one of us, right? We are like pursuing science, and science teaches us like, is this hype? So when it comes to generative AI, there is so much hype, right? So is this hype real? So what we do is we pursue like the scientific methodology, we pursue rigorous research, and we publish. So what it shows, so when this chat GPT hype came, so people thought, I can use it in healthcare. So what we do first, we ask chat GPT about the questions which the physicians here need to go through. There is the USMLE exam. We are asked a set of questions, and you have to pass that before you consider yourself a physician. So what they did, they took some questions from this USMLE exam, and they asked ChatGPT for those. And when they did that in February 2023, they feed these questions to ChatGPT. It scored decently, little more than 50%. That is like the passing grade here. So decent job. So everywhere you must have seen that, hey, ChatGPT passed the physician licensing exam. So will we see ChatGPT? Then Google has a different model similar to ChatGPT. Google feed these questions to their model, and the performance watch was much better than the ChatGPT one, almost like 68%. They said like, wow, so pretty impressive. And now another team did that in October this year, and the performance went up. The correct answers were almost like 90%. So you can see within almost like 6-7 months, the performance went from 50 to 90%. So if this can happen, the underlying point I want to convey here is like these models are getting better with every month, every 6 months. We had GPT-3 last year, GPT-4 came this year. So the technology is getting better at this pace. In the past, I don't know like any other technology has progressed with this speed. But that's why like the question is, what's it's going to be next year? We don't know, because we don't know what OpenAI is going to bring or Google is going to bring. But one thing is for sure, definitely it's going to be better than this year. So if this year performance was 90%, the model which will be coming next year will be definitely better than 90%. So this is one test. Another test is like they started pitting this chat GPT against physicians. So let's see how they do it with physician, and they chose emergency department ecosystem because we know, right, when the patient comes, we are in a hurry, we don't have all the data points we need before we make a diagnosis. So what they did is they took data from 30 patients who had already been treated in ED, and they feed the patient notes, the signs and symptoms and lab results to ChatGPT, and told ChatGPT, can you give me like 5 differential diagnoses for each of these patients? They were already seen. So they had 3 data points. Data point number 1, they feed this data, patient data to ChatGPT, and the data coming from ChatGPT. That's number 1. Number 2 data point is the emergency physician, what diagnosis they made when the patient was seen in the past. They had the list of differential diagnoses. And third one is the actual gold standard, which is actual diagnosis. When the patient was shifted from ED to hospital, other tests were performed, and what was like out of those DDs, which was the actual diagnosis. So when they compared that, there was 60% agreement between the differential diagnosis list provided by clinicians in ChatGPT. Pretty good, because these are trained physicians, and ChatGPT, as I said, it's not trained for medical purposes, but still the agreement was 60%. But the next data point is pretty significant. The correct diagnosis provided within the top, so the final diagnosis when the patient moved to the hospital, was it in that list provided by ChatGPT or the emergency physicians? Yes, it was in 87% cases. ED physician was right in 87% cases. The diagnosis they made, yeah, it ended up being one of them. But for ChatGPT, it was 97%. So the performance was better than ED physicians. And this is for a model which is not trained for healthcare reasoning. So pretty good. So a skeptic within me will say like, what if this is like, it's just like regurgitating data, right? So I don't go to a physician because he can answer all my questions. I go to a physician because he's empathetic, he listens to me. And I feel that comfort level because our profession is different. We just don't want answer. We want someone to comfort us. So there is a team within here, like UC San Diego team. What they did is it was published in JAMA. So they evaluated not just on the quality of responses, but the empathetic responses. So they went to the online patient forum. They took, I think, a list of 200 questions, and they fed to ChatGPT. They got the response, and they had like independent evaluators, and they say, and they got responses from actual physicians, and they provided both ChatGPT provided responses and the physician provided responses. And they preferred chatbot over physician in 79% of the time. And it's not just on quality, even on the empathetic responses. They scored on empathy. So the responses they got from ChatGPT, they thought like were more empathetic compared to physician responses. So it's pretty good. So not just the quality you're getting, but like the tone and how they answer your questions is like what you as a patient are looking for. So, and it's just the beginning. So how AI is being used. So this generative AI came last year, as I said, in 12 months. We see a lot of adoption across different industries. So how it is being adopted now, or at least being considered for adoption in healthcare and life sciences domain. So these are few of the use cases I will just share. In healthcare, there is a company here called Forward in the San Francisco Bay Area. So they created these care pods. So these are like preventive health screening pods. These are hospital without a person. So you can just schedule your appointment, go there. They have different sensors. They will take your scans. They will take your blood samples. So you don't need to interact with anybody. And then they have different algorithms. And then they will tell you like your overall health status. So this is like a hospital without a doctor. These are called care pods. The second company is pretty exciting. It's making a lot of talk within the AI domain is Hippocratic AI. What they are creating is, from a hospital perspective, we want to talk with every patient, right? Even before surgery, we want to tell them like, hey, your surgery is in 2 days, please do this. When they are operated, they go home, we follow up with them on a daily basis or weekly basis. We would like to in actual sense. Many times we don't do that because we don't have these resources. So what this company is doing is creating these models specific for each role. There is a model for nurse, model for pharmacist, model for physician. And what they will do is they will just call these patients and have a conversation with the patient as if you're talking to a healthcare professional. They will have access to all your data. So you can ask the question, hey, doctor, I got operated yesterday. Can you tell me what I need to do? And they will tell you exactly like do physiotherapy or take this medicine, are you taking this? So you will feel as if you're talking to actual person, but these will be like large language model provided chatbots having conversation with you based on your actual data at that point of time. So pretty exciting if that happens. So there is another company, Prenovo. What they do is like these are like preventive scans. So normally we don't go for these kinds of scan, but they have this MRI-based proactive screening for early detection. They can identify this. They claim at least they can identify over 500 common and rare conditions. So if you undergo the scan, which lasts for an hour, they provide you a report which goes through like every body organ and tell you like exactly, because many times we come to know about these nodules or on an incidental basis. These are incidental findings, but they want to make it more deliberate. So maybe undergo the scan every year or two and get to know the status. And there is a team in Mass General Hospital which created a model which can tell you based on just your chest X-ray, your 10-year risk of death from heart attack or stroke stemming from atherosclerotic. So you don't need to do anything, just put your X-ray scan, put this model, and it will tell you exactly the score. So this can be the future. Like you don't need to go all the tests. I think Google is working on something related to your retina. They can take your retinal scan and tell you exactly the health status for different diseases, and not just like your vision or diabetes. Similarly, like AI chatbots, they are a big thing now, pretty easy to implement. So if you want to talk to your hospital person, just talk to this chatbot. This is like, we have chatbots now, but they are not efficient. They don't have your personalized data. So if you want to talk to hospital XYZ, just call them and they will have access to your data once you confirm your identity. And then you can schedule your appointment, tell them about your symptoms, and they can say you need to see a doctor or no. If you need any mental health assistance, they will provide that counseling. This is not the actual person. This is a model talking to you as if you won't feel that difference. And the benefit is like, you don't need these personnel, right? This is 24/7, no waiting time, reduced cost. Similarly, in life sciences, big AI adoption. So you must have seen many of these news. J&J hired thousands of data scientists, machine learning engineers, huge adoption we see across. We talked with these pharma companies, huge adoption across different domains. Big shout out to India too, because recently they are changing the pharma industry in terms of AI adoption. Pfizer working. So most of these pharma companies, they have collaboration with techs in terms of modifying or transforming their infrastructure to prepare them for AI. Why biopharma is in a unique position? There are huge inefficiencies. We know the drug take almost like 15 years, billions of dollars. So they want to improve the efficiency. Time is of essence because of patent expiry. And these companies, they have a high margin. They have strong cash flows. So they have a lot of cash to invest in AI. And they have huge R&D budget. So part of that can be diverted for AI adoption. And keep these companies in mind. These are like major AI players in biopharma. So we think like Pfizer's, Merck's, and Novartis of the world, they need to what they do is they start from scratch and they develop these molecules. But nowadays, what they are doing is they are working with companies like these. And these are the companies they call these digital biotechs. So they are developing with AI different drugs. They are working on drug discovery. And once they discover the drug, they are passing it on to big pharmas to continue to clinical trials. So you will see these names again and again. So I think Insilico was the first one who get this first AI-based drug in clinical trials. So a lot of excitement coming from these few companies in the pharma domain. So impact of AI, like where they can make a difference in terms of understanding. We know everything starts with understanding the biology, which target to focus on, which protein to focus on. And these models are really good, transformer models, understanding that part. So a lot of excitement in understanding the biology, as well as once you develop that, once you identify the target in terms of can you design the molecule. Up till now, this work used to happen in lab, but now they are doing it in silico. That means more on computer model-based development of candidate molecules. And once you shortlist a molecule, then you pass it on to the lab. So a lot of work we see AI adoption actually in understanding the biology or target discovery and developing these candidate molecules. Clinical trials, a lot of AI adoption. You must have seen that during COVID, how J&J use AI in terms of like selecting their sites. They had these predictive models in terms of where they will see next wave of COVID and which site will be the perfect for enrollment. So a lot of AI adoption in clinical trials. For FDA approval, up till now, I think a few of us have worked in terms of creating these clinical study reports based on clinical trial data. It normally takes 6 months to 12 months just to create these reports for submission to FDA. But now these models are actually helping feed the data to the model, and they are creating nicely summarized clinical study reports. So a lot of adoption there, as well as in the marketing, as I said, in terms of understanding the customer segment and hyper-personalization of your messages. So across every, I think, subdomain within pharma, within medical devices, there is, so I can talk about these use cases for hours, but these are like few of the major ones within the biopharma sector. Drug discovery, I just mentioned. I think I want everyone to take notice of this company, DeepMind. This is a Google subsidiary. The model they develop AlphaFold, really like transform the way we perceive these 3D structures of proteins. And if you ask many of the biologists, they say this is like the most significant contribution of AI to humanity is this AlphaFold model. Because before AlphaFold, the 3D structures of only almost like 17% of the proteins in the body was known to us. But now we have, I think, almost like 98% of these 3D structures of proteins. And those who work in drug discovery will understand how important that is. So it changed the whole dynamics. So one of the major contributions of AI to the drug discovery domain is this AlphaFold model from DeepMind. And we see if we follow closely the GLP-1, these new drugs which are in the market now to counter like for diabetes or obesity. So up till now, drug used to be on their own, right? But now in the future, there will be drugs like GLP-1. If you see the FDA label for these, what they say is drug is an adjunct to diet and exercise. So if I'm Eli Lilly, and if I need to market my drug, then I will collaborate with someone who can make sure that the patient taking the drug is also doing exercise, also taking the diet. So we see this collaboration. So we have companies like Lark and Omada Health here. So they have these AI-based applications which help the patient to be on their journey with GLP-1s. They exercise regularly, they take the diet they need. So this is the model you will see more and more in the future. The pharma companies using these digital health tools to go with their drugs. So not just for diet and exercise, but medication adherence. And then you will see a lot of application of AI in this domain too. So these are just few of the use cases. I just talk about clinical trials, huge AI adoption. This is not like everything is hunky-dory, right? Like, though I'm sharing my excitement for generative AI, there are definitely challenges and concerns. So hallucination is one. This model was trained on internet data. So many times when you ask them questions, it just bluffs. It just fabricates some information, but provide you with confidence. And the term for that is hallucination. So you have to take that with a pinch of salt. Like if you want to rely your care based on the output given by models like this, you want this to be pretty accurate, right? Someone's life is depending on that. So still like there is concern about how accurate the information this model provide is. There are definitely some ethical concerns and biases because the data these models were trained, the data just comes from North America. To what extent you can use that for somewhere else? So there are definitely ethical concerns and biases, and you will find a lot of literature on that. And there's a black box concept. So there is not much clarity on like what kind of data these models were trained and how you perform the evaluation. Because for drugs and devices, we have a set pathway. They go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. But if you want to use a tool like these AI-based tools, like what's the pathway for them before you implement them for actual patient care? As of now, there is no clarity. FDA is struggling here in terms of how they should regulate these AI-based devices. And that will stay for some time because this technology is growing so fast and at such a pace that it's difficult for these regulatory agencies to create that guardrail around that. It will happen, but it will take time. As well as accountability. If I'm a physician using these AI devices for my patient care, if it gives me some output and it's not accurate, but I still rely on that and make changes in my patient care, who is accountable for that, me as a physician or these models? And then sometimes like the risk of over-reliance on AI technologies, to what extent I should rely on. Many times we have seen like, if you see the Tesla cars, they are self-driving cars, but the manual or Tesla says you should not be like sleeping there, but there are tons of internet videos. People rely on technology and say, pretty good, I don't need to worry, I can sleep in my car. So will the same thing happen here in the medical domain? Even if there should be human in the loop, you as a physician need to make sure whatever the output given to you is accurate. After a while, we can say, no, this model is pretty good. Every time it gives you pretty good input. So you might not be assessing that output every time. And there can be some faulty output given by the model, and someone's lives might be in jeopardy. So over-reliance on technology definitely is a concern. And last but not the least, the integration issues, how we integrate this technology. Because me as a physician, I have been working in a certain way. My workflow is a certain way. You have to incorporate a technology, how that will work. So that's a major challenge in the healthcare domain whenever the question of technology comes. Physicians are reluctant to change the habit they have been following for the last 30, 40 years. How it will impact the future? Job posting mentioning AI have gone up in last 2 years. And if you just see from November, like generative AI jobs, they are like skyrocketing. And if you see most of the report, they say there is a shortage of skilled professionals. And the last one is like the demand for AI talent grows in India. The salaries they are paying is almost like 50, 60 lakhs, even for the fresh graduates, because every industry needs these people. And that's not different for pharma or healthcare. So how it will impact the job scenario or the work we do. So there is a study done by McKinsey. What they did is like, they took different professions and they split their work hours. Like if I'm a physician, how many hours I see a patient and how many hours I like just enter the data. So based on that, their estimation is almost like 30% of work will be automated by 2030. And if you see the health professionals, that's almost like 20%. That will be work automated by technology, which is not being done today. That's like almost 1/5 of our work hours. So which way, like what are the career opportunities in this domain? So if you talk about clinical domain, like there is a lot of talk here about like AI is pretty good. If you see the AI tools, they're mostly as of now focused on radiology and pathology because these are database fields, right? You can feed the image and it will give you output. So they did a survey impact of AI in US medical students in terms of would they like to choose radiology because radiology as a profession, everyone says they are in jeopardy. Will there be a radiology profession? And the survey found out like students like what they see, they may not be willing to pursue radiology as a profession. So there are a few articles I just wanted to put here is like, there is a talk also like, will radiology and pathology work if there are just models giving you output? If you have to just upload the image and the models are so good that this is MRI image and these are the findings, so will we need a separate field of radiology and pathology, or we just merge these two and treat them as maybe information specialist? So who knows, because making predictions is difficult. This is a quote from Jeff Hinton. He's the godfather of AI. You must have seen that. He recently resigned from Google and he had these concerns about where the technology is going. But this is a quote from him in 2016. He said, like, we should stop training radiologists now. It is just completely obvious that in 5 years, deep learning is going to do better than radiologists. Might be 10 years. It's good he included that might be 10 years because it definitely did not happen in 5 years. But where we see the field is going, maybe I may go with Jeff Hinton. No one can predict what the future will be, but not replace. I would say like definitely, but there won't be those many radiologists needed in the future. The common quote we see is like, it will replace radiologists who don't use AI. So who knows, but definitely that is a concern being talked about in AI circles. So AI adoption will increase in hospitals. So there will be like chief digital officer. In the hospital domain, you will have a CTO, chief technology person. We have it here, and I'm pretty sure India will have huge adoption of AI in next, if not 5 years, maybe 5 to 10 years. And in that case, you just don't need a technical person. You need someone with the clinical knowledge who also knows technology. So there will be huge demand for these chief digital officer, clinical informatics, medical AI officer who know about definitely medical domain, the workflows, as well as about technology and how to incorporate technology in the workflows. In terms of like not just in the clinical domain, health technology, I work for a tech company and I just went through LinkedIn, and there are many people like even in India working for Google, uh, Amazon, IBM, Microsoft. So even tech company, because they are developing solutions which cater to healthcare and life sciences, and they need experts like you and me. So huge demand now because AI is betting hugely on healthcare and life sciences. So they need people like you who already are trained in healthcare. What they need you to know is like how AI works. So little bit of knowledge about AI and AI technologies. So it's providing a great opportunity for medical professional to expand your area of expertise to collaborate. So the best part of my job is like, I have medical domain expertise, but at the same time, you work with like data scientists, machine learning engineers, people who design these apps. So that's exciting. If you have that desire to be like on this pathway to learn new things on a day-to-day basis, get excited about what's coming, definitely health tech is an option. And companies will be, because India is such a huge knowledge capital base. Most of these companies will be looking for this medical expertise we have in India. So I'm pretty sure huge job opportunities for these health tech companies in the near future. The other is like public policy ethics, because so much is happening. Everyone wants to regulate AI. Even in Indian government, like they have this towards responsible AI for all. There are many strategies or guidance documents on AI. So, and the way technology is coming, so they want to have this policy formulation from the drug development side, device development side, or even the healthcare side. So there will be huge demand for healthcare professional for drafting these policies. So if you are interested in like public policy or maybe a healthcare, global healthcare perspective, WHO and those, they are developing these AI policies. It will be like huge activity in this domain for next 5 years. If that is of your interest, this is the perfect time to pursue that. HCI, that means human computer interaction. That's how you can effectively deal with computers. Like why you use Instagram so much, because they invest so much understanding your psychology. They are a team of psychologists. They make sure why you click left, why you click right. And if we expect these AI solutions to cater to like not just the patients, but to clinical community nurses, so every app they build, they need to be in a certain way. So there will be huge demand of people who can design these apps. So there are specialized domain areas called HCI, human computer interaction. I'm betting this will be the field which will explode in terms of, because they need people with not just like the design expertise, but people who understand medical domain. But data needs to go there. I have seen excellent algorithms in the past, but most of these products fail because they did not have these interfaces, which can give a physician, because physician is not trained on the technology. You have to make it very simple. So this human computer interaction, UX, UI, will explode in next few years because everyone will be developing these apps similar to ChatGPT. AI evaluation regulatory approval. We have seen that explosion of clinical research in India for last 10, 15 years. Now we have the set pathways for how the drugs is approved, how the device is approved. Similar thing now when these AI solutions will come in market, there will be a separate pathway. You need to understand how AI works. So similar to clinical research, there will be clinical research for these AI tools, and there might be different studies. It won't be like phase 1, phase 2. It might be like technical performance studies to start with, then usability and workflow studies, how you use these tools in your day-to-day operations, how that impact your workflows. So pretty sure this field will dominate because you will see tons of AI solutions coming into healthcare, and you need people who have this kind of expertise, not just in the healthcare domain, but also from the AI domain. So, and I think the way for clinical research, India is a backbone. A similar thing will happen for this AI solution evaluation. And last but not the least, like venture capital, IP, many of you might be interested in that domain. Like if you are like financial, if you're savvy or you want to work on like venture capital that excites you, or IP, because many VCs in USA, these are the people who fund these startup companies. You must have heard this term. Many of these VCs who work in US and who work for the healthcare life sciences domain, they are physician by training. So if you are interested, maybe go for MBA or any finance course, and then you can explore that domain too, because even that is exploding in India, and they need people who have this healthcare background. So these are few fields I definitely expect will pick up in India in next 5 years for sure. So this is the moment I think many of you are still in your PG program, undergrad program. This doesn't happen like this is once in a lifetime opportunity. This is like the fourth industrial revolution. There is a reason like you are in a school now, and this is like technology is exploding. So AI will change healthcare. AI will change the way medicine is practiced, how biopharma works. So either you can get impacted by that, or you can join this revolution, grab a chair, and steer in the direction it's going, because uh, tech companies can't decide the way technology is used in healthcare. We need many physicians like you guys who are experts in terms of like what healthcare needs. So if you don't hesitate to try something new, I would definitely say like grab a chair. This is the moment. Medicine is going to change in next 5 to 10 years, and be a part of this revolution and make sure it goes in the right direction, because we need people who have this domain expertise and who want to make right things happen in the healthcare domain. So that's it from me. I know this is a lot of content thrown at you, but like this is my LinkedIn QR code. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to dive deeper on any of these topics or need more data, I will be happy to share with you. But once again, thanks for the opportunity, and I will be happy to take any questions.
Yes. So thank you so much, Dr. Amol. I think this was an excellent overview, balanced as well as very comprehensive overview of the benefits as well as the challenges. There are lots of questions in the chat box that I can see. We are running short of time, but my PG students who are listening to this show, there are more than 400 registrations and there are more than 1,500 students there. So one of the questions that was made to ask me compulsory to you was, why did you venture into AI despite being a healthcare professional?
So I came by accident. Like I didn't design like I want to go in technology. So as I said, like I started with clinical research because I wanted to try something new. I was not that interested in the conventional clinical domain. So clinical research, I definitely joined by design. But while I was working with Stanford, it was like Apple came knocking on our door and Google came knocking on our door to get their watches approved through FDA. And that was my first exposure to technology. And then we completed that study within a year. I was very excited with the outcome, because you work on a technology and that is available to like 60 million people across the world, which can detect atrial fibrillation. That was like, wow. So that really excited me. And then I wanted to try something new. And then IBM was like shining object at that time. So it was not by design, but what I would like to tell you, like, this is the moment for you guys, because now AI is so democratized and so much happening in India. So I definitely want at least give it a thought whether like you want to pursue that as a part of your career. So many startups in India, if you are really interested, just reach out to them. And most of them, they need someone like you who has medical expertise. So I didn't do by design, but I definitely encourage you to do it by design.
Yes, thank you. And there are many questions. So what I would request you to answer them in 1 or 2, 9 o'clock. And I know you're early morning there. So one of the question from Dr. Nageshwar is, I think you have already answered this question. So this question is related to how AI is going to be useful for clinical pharmacology. So I'll skip this question because that has already been addressed. So I would request Simran and Aditya to take the further questions. Simran, can you take a few questions?
I have a question from Dr. Ganesh regarding use of AI in dermatology.
So that question is coming to you from the Dubai. Dr. Ganesh is asking you how AI is going to be useful for dermatology.
Oh, so I think among where we see adoption of AI, dermatology might be the first one, which will get like AI adoption. There are many clinical apps now. It's because it's all image based, right? So, and the good thing is Google is interested in that. So in terms of commercialization, we see definitely a big company like Google backing that really helps. But I see great potential. I don't know in what way I can answer your, but I see great potential in terms of like diagnosis of skin diseases, because these are all more image based, and AI is really good in that. If you see computer vision in terms of like normal skin and like different skin lesions. So I definitely expect something to come from Google in next maybe 2-3 years in that domain.
Yeah, I think next two questions, they already been addressed. Dr. Nagesh is asking about a role in the drug designing, and also Dr. Sadish is asking about role of AI in radiology. I think these questions are addressed. So maybe Simran, you can take the next question from Dr. Anika.
Yes, sir. We have a question from Dr. Anika asking that will the implementation of AI in healthcare require regulatory changes, and if so, what might these changes entail? We had briefly discussed about this, but she would like
Yes.
to know an answer for
It's a really good question, because everyone is struggling. If you see FDA, US FDA, because most of the other regulatory agencies, they follow them, or maybe EMEA. But even the FDA is struggling here. The way I mentioned about conventional AI and generative AI, right? They had some handle on conventional AI, and they had some regulations. But now, if you see generative AI, it's completely different trajectory. So it took them off guard. Now FDA is still thinking how they should regulate. So it's difficult, because many of these models, what they do is they learn when you use them based on the data. So these models are not static, and FDA doesn't want that. As of now, most of the regulations are for the static models, but these models keep changing as you use them, and FDA is not used to that. Imagine like a drug being approved, and then that drug changes as you take that drug. So it's a really like important question. FDA is trying to answer that, but they will get handle around that. It will take some time, but it's very difficult. This is like catch and go situation. They are trying to catch something, and then something is new technology is coming up. So from
So I
FDA
think,
perspective, it's really pain. Mhm.
yes. The next question also, I think you have addressed. Dr. Arjun was asking about the role of AI in drug discovery and accelerating the process of bringing the drugs to the market. I think that also has been addressed. Maybe Aditya, you want to take the question from the Daksh?
Just a minute. Dr. Daksh is asking, how can healthcare professionals and institutions effectively collaborate with AI systems to deliver more efficient and accurate patient care?
That's a really good question, because the model I see here is like most of the tech companies, specifically in healthcare, they need that stamp of approval from academic institution. They need to perform those rigorous studies. Like if it's Apple or Google, they have collaborations across the world. So I think the best thing is like if I'm a tech company, I should work with academic institution. The way at IBM we had collaboration with Harvard and Vanderbilt, they used to validate these technologies. The same model will definitely be coming to India too. So if you're an academic institution, definitely like you should look for these tech partners who need patient, because as I said, oil, like for these AI technologies, data is the oil, and who has this data is the healthcare institutions. So definitely happen. If you work on the tech side, definitely you will reach out to academic institution. If you're an academic institution, look for these partners who are developing these AI-based technologies. And you get preferential treatment. Like if Stanford works with Google, most of the technologies which Google produce, like they come to Stanford early, and that helps your patient. So
yeah, so, Dr. Simran, could you take the question from Dr. Rehan? Unmute yourself and take this question from Dr. Rehan.
Yes, sir. From Dr. Rihan, we have a question asking how might AI-driven healthcare assist in addressing healthcare disparities among various student and professional institutions,
So
regions,
the,
and demographics?
yeah, because considering the data disparity, how would AI address this disparity between different regions and the demographics?
exactly, as I said, like because that's a major challenge and concern about like, because if you train a model on specific data or specific geographical data, people coming from that geography, then you definitely are going to see bias. And we do see that. There are many studies showing that. So I think you just have to make sure like you localize this. That's why if I'm implementing that maybe for the Western India or maybe specific parts of India, you have to train these models again on that patient data. So what they are doing here is like we go by institution. Even if I have pretty good AI model or AI solution like hospital XYZ, I will go there, train the model again on their specific data, see the demographic shift they have. Maybe African American population mix might be different, or so you have to localize these models on specific data sets. You can't just like use them plug and go. You have to train these models again on specific data to avoid this bias.
So I think Amol, I would take this last question, which has come to. There are so many questions come on my WhatsApp, but I will take this last question because this is pertinent to my students who are listening to you. So this is a question asked by Dr. Avni. For someone who is looking for starting a career in AI like you did, what skills and knowledge the person should have to focus on?
Perfect. Very, very good question. I really wanted to address this. So you all have like your domain expertise, right? Either you are coming from like pharma background or medicine background. So don't worry about like getting too many courses. What I suggest is like experience matters. So if you're done with your schooling, like you're done with your MBBS or M.Pharm, B.Pharm, reach out to these startups and gain some experience in AI. There are tons of courses available on Coursera or whatever platform you are using. Go for these. No one asks for like qualification or maybe certification or degrees because you already are expert in your domains. But do these courses online. What I talk about like AI, deep learning, what is like generative AI. But more than that, reach out to these companies, work somewhere where you will get that expertise. Even in the academic domain, if someone is doing some experiment or research project on AI, get that hands-on experience because that will be valuable, your domain expertise and your knowledge about AI. If you want to pursue post graduation, there are many options, even in India, abroad. Go for that, but I would suggest because you're already a domain expert in that. So just reach out for these AI-based startups in the healthcare domain. More than happy to
I think
get you on board.
yes, it's 9:07, 9:08 now. So there are questions coming in. So this is really the last question, Dr. Amol, for you. So Dr. Avni is asking ethical concerns. So much you talked about ethical concerns. So what the role of maybe public engagement and education? Would that help in shaping the ethical guidelines for use of AI in the health industry or whatever industry it is?
Absolutely. I think, yeah, the major role here comes from the academic institution, like Professor Patil, like you guys, like, because you can't expect like these debates to pursue vigorously by normal people. So I think that role in the US, at least I see, is played by academic institution. So professionals like you definitely need to pursue that and bring that ethical aspect on board because me as a tech company, I may not pay that much attention to these details because you deal with these patients on a daily basis. So I think academic institutions, they have a major role to represent these ethical concerns on behalf of the patients and bring that to the fore and continue definitely addressing them with tech companies. Because
So I
that's a
think
major concern in healthcare.
great. I think we will stop here because we have already passed 10 minutes and I know how particular you are about timings. So I would request Dr. Simran to give vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Simran.
Good evening, sir. I hope I'm audible. This is
Yeah,
Simran
you're
Khatri.
audible.
Simran Khatri from KM Hospital. I'm here to deliver the vote of thanks. So, on behalf of each and everyone present here, I extend my sincerest gratitude to Dr. Amol Rajamani, sir, for gracing us with your enlightening presence and delivering an exceptionally insightful session on AI driven transformation in healthcare. So, your speech provided a profound understanding of the pivotal role that AI plays in revolutionizing the healthcare landscape and transformative potential that it holds for the future of medicine. We deeply appreciate the time, effort, and dedication you have invested in preparing and presenting such a comprehensive and engaging disclosure. Your valuable insights not only educated us, but they also inspired us to explore further the immense opportunities that the AI has to offer in enhancing healthcare services, improving diagnostic, personalized treatments, and overall patient care. So, once again, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your expertise and wisdom with us. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Anand Patel, sir, for sir's remarkable contribution to the field of pharmacology through the creation of the extraordinary platform that we all are a part of. Med Marvel sessions have transformed the landscape of educational resources for pharmacology students. Sir, your dedication to nurturing talent and fostering an environment that encourages collaboration and innovation is just commendable. Through these platforms, you have not only provided a stage for industry experts to share their invaluable insights, but have also empowered students to grasp a deeper understanding of this field. So, thank you, sir, for your vision, dedication, and incredible opportunities that you have created for all of us in the realm of pharmacology. I would also like to thank each one of you for your enthusiastic participation and unwavering engagement during the session tonight. Your active involvement to all the delegates through the thought provoking queries that you asked and the engaging conversation, it truly made the event a resounding success. And I'm immensely grateful to be a part of the PG Pharmacology Forum. The forum has successfully connected pharmacology students from various parts of the country, creating an invaluable connect that promises boundless opportunities and learning experiences. I would like to also extend my heartfelt gratitude to Diksha, ma'am, for organizing today's session so well. Through Medisage, you have not only provided a channel for knowledge exchange, but also have paved the way for mentorship, networking, and exposure to real world scenarios. Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you to each and everyone present here.
Thank you so much, everyone. So before we move towards the final closure, I would like to take Dr. Amol's and Dr. Anand's feedback for today's session. So, Dr. Amol, as you have presented today, so I would like to know your feedback of the session.
That was pretty good. Thanks again for the opportunity. Yeah, I just wanted to like share my excitement about AI with this new generation. I hope they got some new knowledge from this talk, and that will excite them to at least consider what they can do on the AI front. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Doctor. Thanks for your valuable feedback. And now, Dr. Anand Patel, over to you.
So I think I must thank Dr. Amol. With my one text of WhatsApp, he agreed to be a speaker for this session. So thank you so much. And I'm very sure, as Dr. Simran and Dr. Aditya, they would agree with me that PG Pharmacology Forum is giving them an opportunity to connect. And I must thank Medisage and the whole team of Medisage to helping us giving this platform without any expectations from us. So thank you so much. Medisage, and I would request all the PG participants who have any extra queries, they can connect with Amol on LinkedIn as he has already shared. So with this, I thank you once again, all of you, and have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. So we move towards the final closure. So we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Amol, Dr. Anand Patil, and Dr. Aditya, and Dr. Simran for your invaluable time and presentation. The session was truly remarkable, filled with knowledge and engaging discussions. We trust our audience found this webinar enjoyable and informative. So we eagerly anticipate for more such webinars on equally fascinating and educational topics in the future as well. So thank you immensely and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leave